Hello, I'm David D. Cosmo, and this is Preview, a public affairs presentation of Electric City Television. We continue to do our programs from home because of the virus pandemic, and our guests join us by computer video link. Today, that guest is Lori Fleming, who is director of the Older Adult Centers for the United Neighborhood Centers of Northeastern Pennsylvania. Lori, it wasn't too very long ago that we had you on the program, and we were excited to talk about one of your major programs, which is Seniors Got Talent, and unfortunately, it has become a victim of the virus.
Yes, it has. We're going to have to cancel the whole thing for 2020.
Just impractical to get it together in such a short time, I suppose.
Not so much that, David, as just the safety and concern when we have 400 people gathered, and we were going to do it in April, then we were moving it to September or October, so now we're just going to do it in 2021.
Well, it would seem that all is shut down at the centers because of the pandemic, but as you and I talked before going on the air, you're actually very involved yet. So I think we ought to take some time to talk about what is happening by way of the centers.
Sure, I would love to. Not only us through United Neighborhood Centers, but also in conjunction with support from the Lackawanna County Area Agency on Aging. So what we do every Monday is we pack, distribute, and deliver meals to those 60 years of age and older. They get a 7-day supply of meals. Here's an example, David. This past Monday, we saw 330 older adults throughout Carbondale, Mid-Valley, Jessup, Southside, and Westside, and I had ordered 2,500 meals to be distributed.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is.
Now, who is doing the work to put these meals together?
All of the managers and I are going in every Monday safely to do that with our masks and our gloves. And each of us have 3 volunteers that help as well. So it's really nice to have them give back too. And it's all safe, low risk. The older adults can come a couple of ways. They drive up, and we have a drive-by that we safely put in their car. Some of them will walk up, and we do the social distancing for them to get those meals. And then our third is those we deliver to, David, because if you have to take public transportation to get to us, or you do not have transportation, we will deliver your meals to you safely on your porch in a spot that you have designated for us.
Do you have one central distribution center?
No. The meals are brought to us at all of our centers, all 4, Carbondale, the Mid-Valley, Jessup, Southside, and Westside. From there, we package it, and then we see our own individuals that come through. Southside and Westside have the most. They're averaging at least 100 each Monday. So then Carbondale and Mid-Valley, they see anywhere about 55, 56 each Monday.
And are you asking people to call in advance?
Yes, we do. It is through reservation only. You have to reserve your meal or cancel it if you don't want it by the Wednesday prior to that Monday. So that way we can plan accordingly. Because I have to tell our vendor, that's a lot of meals, 2,500 meals to put together. What they're getting are 5 frozen meals. Then in a different package, there is breakfast items to constitute another meal. And then also there is what we call a brown bag. It's a sandwich, it's fruit, it's crackers, or it's a side like a coleslaw or something like that. And then they also get 7 pints of milk. So and then they get a dessert bag. I forgot about that, which is fruit, might be some Lorna Doones, those types of cookies in there as well.
So in addition to supplying a meal, you're trying to get it as balanced as possible to give them several meals out of it, and of course nutritional value as well considered.
We are, and not only taking care of their nutritional needs, we're trying to take care of their emotional needs. We just did a survey, David, of all of them, and their biggest thing, of course, is social isolation, and they're bored. So we try to include puzzles in there. When I mean puzzles, like word searches and crossword puzzles, things like that. And then if they bring them back, we completed, we put them in for a drawing for a prize. It's a small little goodie bag that we give to them each Monday. So we're trying to keep them stimulated. When they come, we always check in on them too, David. How you doing? What do you need? How's it going? Have a little 5-minute conversation, because that 5-minute conversation goes a long way with them all. So we're trying to do that as well.
I would think this is very important because your centers provide such an opportunity for people to socialize, and that is one of the big things that they have now lost because of the pandemic.
It is. One thing we did found, though, is they are keeping in touch with each other, which is wonderful. They'll call each other. A lot of them don't have internet access, so they can't do these Zooms, and they can't do FaceTime and Facebook, but they can call each other. So they have been doing that, which is wonderful to hear that they're connecting in that way, if they can't connect daily with us.
There's obviously, at this stage, no word as to when centers might resume normal operations, but I would assume that before that happens, those centers are pretty large, so you're going to have a job of doing a disinfective type project.
We started that back in March, and as I'm telling all of our older adults, I don't know when we're going to open up. And if and when we do, it's going to look quite different from the center that they left in March. There's just no choice.
How so?
Well, you're just going to have social distancing. There maybe not big parties. We may have to put measures in at front desks as far as, plexiglass screen, protecting. It's just not going to look the same. It just can't, because the older adult population is the most vulnerable.
Lori, not every senior has computer access, but many do right now. I'm wondering if you're considering at all the possibility of having some programs put together that you can do virtually with some of your regular center visitors.
It's funny you say that. That was one of my questions in the survey. So yes, that's one big thing we have found through all this, is we have to figure out how to connect them all with the smart technology that is out there. So we need to, example being like a high rise, get some internet in there, affordable internet, and some type of smart technology, because we could do a lot more with them if we also have that. We can keep connected. We can do a better job doing exercise classes. Maybe we could have a Zoom meeting ourselves. Maybe we could have a virtual class. Like you, David, you could do a armchair travel. You could tell them about one of your great experiences, show some pictures. They would love that. And so, yes, we have discussed that.
I think that probably in the foreseeable future may be the most practical way to still continue offer services beyond the meals.
Absolutely. Fitness classes can be done that way, educational classes. At United Neighborhood Centers, we've been around for 97 years, and we're doing a lot of that with our immigrant population and our English as a second language. They are doing classes, virtual classes, trying to still keep up with all of them so that they can still learn the language and not take any steps back by not practicing it.
So has that continued even during the pandemic?
I will tell you, a lot of our services have still continued through the pandemic, but virtually. We also do behavioral health counseling, either virtually or on the phone, some telehealth. We're still doing that. Our community services is still delivering and giving out food bags daily, like sometimes 60 to 90 bags a day. So we're still doing all of that. We do have a child care center open. We did get a special waiver for those that are essential employees for childcare. So we are doing that. They're doing that safely. Then again, our youth department is doing virtual classes. So we are keeping up with everything.
And the health screening that you mentioned, what is happening along those lines?
You mean our behavioral health?
Yes.
Yes. So Example being, we had an older adult that we were very concerned about. So we referred them to our community health department, and they reached out through telehealth, talking to them, doing the same they would do a one-on-one, but it's over the phone. We have check-ins for our older adults. So those types of services is what we're doing. It's all telehealth right now. That's the new buzzword.
We talked recently with Gary Drapek over at United Way, and ironically, just about the time that the virus pandemic was starting to grow and grow, he was involved with his agency and several others, including yours, I believe, on a project to try to deal with the problem of older adults who are isolated. And I'm gathering that's really a big problem that this virus has sort of escalated.
Sure it is. I will also tell you that our managers make weekly calls to our older adults. They do check-in calls. Again, this whole thing of picking up your meals or delivering your meals, that's another way for us to physically see them to make sure they're okay. So we have that thing. The other thing is, they came up with the county, the yellow and the green cards for the people's older adults' windows.
Yeah, we touched on that, but I think that's worth repeating.
Yeah.
You've circulated colored cards to older adults, and how does that work?
So if everything's good, they put the one color up on their window. If they should need something, or they need something from the store, or they need some other type of assistance, they put the other color on their window, and hopefully a neighbor will see it and know that and knock on their door or call them and let them say, hey, what is it that you need? I see you've changed your color.
Right. So if you see a green card in someone's window, they're okay. If you see
green is go.
Yellow card or yellow or whatever the other color is.
Yellow is the other one. They need assistance. So, and that's really good. One week we handed them out to everybody that we saw. So they, at least 325 in our county have them for sure.
And of course, I know United Way and several agencies are trying to get those out.
Correct. And any older adult that comes through our program, we give them those. You
said some of the regular center visitors are doing their best to contact others who they normally would meet with. How have you measured or gauged that?
We're just measuring it by when we do our weekly calls to say, oh, have you talked to your family and friends? And they'll say, yeah, I got Sally's number, who I always sit with at lunch, and we've been connecting. Or one manager mentions a show that she likes to watch and another older adult does, and so they talk about that show. So it's all through our calls or when we see them on their every Monday for the meal distribution.
Now, back to that meal distribution for just a moment. How do the folks get in touch with you if they want to order one of those meals?
You can call any of the centers that's closest to you. The Carbondale Center on Church Street, the Mid-Valley Center on Church Street in Jessup, South Side on Alder Street, and West Side on Jackson. You need to call, again, by noon the Wednesday prior if you would like those meals. Then between 11 and 12 you can pick up your meals. But again, if by chance you have to take public transportation or you do not have transportation, you can let us know that too, and we will deliver your meals anywhere between 12 and 2 on that Monday.
I gather you're depending on a lot of volunteer help to get this done.
Well, like I said, each center has one staff person and then around 3 volunteers that help pack them and then help distribute them. So again, we're very fortunate to have volunteers to help because it is a daunting task, but one that it's a labor of love, I always say, David.
Sure. What are you doing in terms of trying to keep people informed? Do you have any kind of a newsletter or something that you get out to the regulars, as it were?
Every Monday when you get your meals, you get your puzzles in the meals, but you also get our weekly COVID update. And we put in any type of information that's necessary about maybe where there's another food drive or the latest events that's going to happening, or make sure you do your puzzles. And I encourage people to do our survey. Whatever bit of information we need to do, I put it in a weekly newsletter or flyer.
And I had mentioned United Way because we had Gary on the program. Are you working as closely as possible with other agencies, other service agencies, to make sure that everyone is aware of what's available and to get help to those in need?
Yes, we do a lot of referrals between each other. All of the social service agencies, we work together so that we can serve the community to the best of our abilities. Again, our meals are also helped provided by the Lackawanna County Area Agency on Aging, so we have worked with them. I know our CEO and president is working very closely with all of the other nonprofits, and they have meetings where they're discussing what's happening, how can we work together, how can we serve different populations. So I will say, especially in this county, there's a wide range of services that are available. And if you even just call one, they can also help you to connect to the other one, so you don't have to make all of those calls.
You had mentioned how valuable it is for that face-to-face contact where it can be done, even if it's a face with a mask to another face with a mask. I wonder if, without giving any individual names, you can tell us any stories about those folks you've reached out to and the reaction you're getting.
So I can tell you a couple of things. We have one woman who's in the early stages of some dementia, and she had come to us and had said, well, I don't need any more meals because my freezer's packed with them. And I'm thinking, they shouldn't be packed. So what we do, because if you're eating one a day for 7, you only get 5 frozen meals. So another manager and I, we call her every day at lunch because I think she was forgetting to eat. And so we'd say, hi, I'm making a grilled cheese today. What are you getting out of your freezer? And we have a virtual lunch together so we can keep on her. Another person called and connected with somebody, and they were talking about pain in their ears, and they were a pain in their ear. So they were talking about this, and they said, you really should go to the doctor, and talked about it. Well, lo and behold, they went to the doctor, and they said, thank goodness you came, because there's some disease that you can get that would affect your hearing. And they caught that in time, so they're not having that. So we also have a lot of older adults coming through our meals that, like most of us, you're getting up, you don't have to go up to the office, or maybe you're just pulling your hair back, or, you're not dressing properly. So they're coming that way. So we instituted a dress-up day. You have to come dressed up. And that also helps for us to, to interact with them.
That's pretty innovative, and when you consider the fact that we tend to lounge a little more right now, I can see where that would make a difference.
Yeah, so, all the managers, all of us, we really care about these older adults, so we are really trying to engage with them and go over the top to be engaging with them so that they can feel good, even if it's for 5 minutes, David.
I know you came up with one special program to mark Older Americans Month. Tell us what you did there.
So in order to, normally we would celebrate in the centers, but can't do that. So what we're going to do is we are going to have a virtual celebration. We're going to have music. We have a DJ, EJ the DJ, who's going to do a Facebook Live event, have the music so they can all hear the music. We're going to decorate the centers to show our appreciation for the older adults that we serve. This year's theme is Make Your Mark. So we would like to show that we do appreciate them, and they do make a huge mark in our communities, and we can do that by showing our appreciation for them. And so, we may have some new social distancing dance moves that may be out there, David. And, we might sing and be goofy, and just for 5-10 minutes, let them think about something else besides COVID-19.
Yeah, that's a kind of a project that if this continues much longer, you may want to have one on a regular basis.
Absolutely. So this will be a little different for us. We'll see how it goes, but I've told them all in advance that we're celebrating. They can come honk their car horns or decorate their car. We're going to be decorated, and we'll have music, and hey, you might have to do the twist, and then I'll give you your meals. You never know.
I think it's important for those that may be watching that are seniors to know that they can reach out to you or to the centers at any time. So what is their best method of doing that?
Phone calling. They can call us. We're not in the office all the time, but we do checking our messages all the time. So they can leave their name and number, and we will get back to them very quickly and help to address whatever needs. And sometimes, David, it's just listening and talking, and that's fine with us too.
Is there any sort of message you'd like to leave with those who you normally meet with face-to-face today?
If they're watching from the Carbondale, Mid-Valley, South Side, or West Side Center, that we miss them all. They think that they miss coming, we miss them even more. But we know that as long as they're safe and healthy, which I will say, David, and we're very fortunate, knock on wood, that we haven't had anybody say that they've been affected by the virus physically, not saying emotionally or socially, but that's a blessing. So, yes.
Well, Lori, I thank you for joining us on the program today in this unusual fashion, and I hope that sooner than later we are back together face-to-face.
I hope so too, David, trust me.
Thanks and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you again for joining us, Lori. I'm David D. Cosmo. Thank you for joining us as well here on Preview on Electric City Television. We'll see you next time, and until then, I hope all your news is good.